Welcome back to another episode of In Depth and Out Loud with me, Dubbz. If you've ever wondered about the creative process, this is the conversation for you. So today I've got creative director Chan, who works for Rapt Creative Agency. Super excited to hear about his impressive career journey, where he started and the number of years he actually has in this career. Chan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm super excited.
Let's start with this impressive career. Where did it start, leading to you now being creative director?
Cool. So I started as a graphic designer, studied at Inkscape Design College, which is now called something else, can't remember what it's called. And then after that, it's moving into the first agency, which is Network BBDO. At the time, I had no clue about advertising, just got into it as an internship, worked my way up for, I think, 4 years.
Yeah.
Then moved to what is the agency doesn't exist, but it's 1886, which had Cell C. Did my time there, then moved to Joe Public a couple of years. Then after Joe Public was back to 1886, which then changed to McCann, because that's why it got moved out. And then after that, after McCann is where I am now at Rapt Creative.
And now you're at Rapt Creative. Wow, that is so interesting. Was this always a passion though? Was it something that you kind of like, oh, I want to get into the creative space. This is who I want to be. Or it just kind of happened to you over time?
This is probably terrible advice, but I've been going with the flow. But
Okay.
but my guiding line was basically something in creative, and I knew that in advertising, that's the space that I can flex those creative juices, and also it doesn't lock you into a cubicle every day. It's something exciting every single day. So yeah.
FSCB and Joe Public, what were some of maybe the biggest challenges that you faced while you were there, and how did you overcome?
So as a junior, when you move into the industry, what would happen is you do a lot of grunt work, and that's okay. And doing the layouts and consistent designing, that kind of builds you for what's to come. And also, I don't know if it was at the time was the reason why I went for these agencies, but I did want to do like very strenuous work. So things like the cellular network brands, those you can do a lot of work in that, and also banking. So in the banking sector, that's also a lot of work to be done. So as a junior, you do all the grunt work, you do all the different layouts, and to overcome it is, at that time, you have to be patient. Things won't come, all opportunities doesn't come that quickly at the beginning, and that's okay. There's always a very long road ahead of you. And you can take what you can, and obviously don't burn yourself out, but just do enough that you are pushing yourself a little bit more every time, and I think that's important.
So when you were at Joe Public, you worked on a really massive, in fact, you led a massive campaign. It was BAT, right?
So yeah, correct. I didn't lead. I was one of the main core teams.
Okay.
BAT is British American Tobacco, so BAT. And the reason why that was my highlight of that section of my career, is that it got the attention of the can't remember the deputy minister of the SARS.
Yeah, it went national.
It went national, so it was broadcast on the news. And if you want to know more about that campaign, yes, it is about tobacco, but the way we looked at it. So the challenging thing was, smoking is a bad thing. But the way we looked at it was, the people, the jobs that are lost through illicit cigarettes. So it was a bit tough one.
It was a tough one.
It was a tough one.
Which is what I wanted to ask you, the creative process there. That's
Yes.
what I wanted to actually get to.
Correct. And so one of the challenges was you can't say like, cool, it's about tobacco, but the way we removed it was the jobs that were lost through illicit cigarettes.
Yes.
So we couldn't put that as a thing. What we did was we kind of raised it as where did the tax go? So yeah, that's why this is the
What?
first time I actually speaking this in public. But at the time, it was scary because it was putting a light on the jobs that are lost through, the lost in taxes. So
Yeah.
all we did was we put these massive billboards pretty much in the right places and in print media, and we just have this big hashtag that says "Take back the tax," and then it led to
That's clever.
So then it was one step removed from it. So that was our workaround. So that's the way you have to look at it the problem, not as just as what you see it, but also how do you move it in a way that it doesn't make it look bad.
What would you say are the latest trends currently in advertising and creativity, and how do you think these would shape future campaigns?
Interesting, because especially the going jargon is AI. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone knows about it, and that's what the world is moving towards. Whether you like it or not, it's going to happen, because it's such a driving force for the time being. It's nice to know about it. I think that's what the trick is. It's like when computers came into the scene, like typesetters they don't exist anymore because you can do things on your computer.
Yes.
Those jobs are lost. But if you try to look ahead and say, like, look, you don't have to agree or disagree, just know what's happening in that area. So AI is the next phase of things. But there's the video aspect of it. There's the words creation, script writing. Those can help you. It won't finish your work.
I'm glad you said help, not replace.
Yes, exactly that. And you kind of do need to view it as a tool. It does do the bare minimum. So what it does, it extracts the standards of what the internet provides.
Yes.
And then it'll spit you out what's standard. If you're okay with standard, that's cool. But as creatives, you should be aspiring to do better and doing what's your flavor and add your flavor to the work.
I'm glad that you mentioned flavor. A lot of people, when we talk about creativity, they kind of think it's about personality, right? But what do you think can spark one's creativity? Does it really just, do we just base it on a personality?
I think it's deeper than that. I think it's not just personality, it's taste. So like how, going back to the previous conversation, AI does spit out a car for you. But then now it's a matter of taste. Like, what image that you think is pretty, know, like and then now we're going deeper, like, because of your taste, you now have a certain look, like, and because personality is too single-minded, I feel, because it's just you. It's not about you. It's about also everyone else, and how everyone agrees that, what we're seeing is cool or it's relatable. So there's a bit of taste and relatability that comes into the play, where it's not just about yourself.
No, true. So take us through now the process of, you have an idea, and how do you then take that idea and turn it into a full-on campaign?
Cool. So a lot of the times it starts from the problem. So what's the problem at hand?
Okay.
So in my world, it's more like, how do we move this particular product? And when with product, you then like, what's cool about this product? It's called a USP, unique selling proposition or point. And with that, you say, cool, how does this relate to the audience?
Yeah.
Right? And that's what comes with insight. So insight is kind of like the human connection. So what is something that you and I can understand on a human level? Like we both understand that this thing is awesome. That's an insight. So everyone agrees that this is an insight. From the insight, you're like, cool, how do we make that into an idea that's more engaging, that's more relatable? And what the idea is, trying to connect two thoughts in the same thing, and you make a new idea. With that, then you can say, okay, cool, I want to say it in this type of way. And that will then lead you into a campaign. I know I'm being very cryptic because but
it makes sense. It makes absolute sense. And also, I just want to add on to that. Now, in a case where, I mean, we spoke about personality and that it's deeper than that, and then there's taste, right? So now you've also got a client that you need to kind of please. They have their own kind of, okay, we wanted to take this direction. And then there's your vision as well.
Yes.
How do you bring this together to say, okay, I've got this vision, the client wants this, and you also obviously need to also think of the customer as well.
Exactly.
Which is like 3 different visions, really, essentially, that you now need to bring all of this together and make it amazing to all these 3 people.
100%. I am missing the one key component to what I've just mentioned earlier on, and that is strategy. So what happens with strategy is that, so the brief comes, which is the problem. The strategist goes in and like, cool, what's the demographic we're looking at? What's the market we're looking at? Now we're narrowing the target. By doing so, then you say, the ongoing thing is Gen Zs. So what does appeals to Gen Zs? You know, what are their likes, dislikes? How do they speak? You know, having all that manual or that cheat sheet, using that, we then define how we communicate to them. So by doing so, client agrees to the strategy. Like, cool. So we speak to clients. Do we agree that this strategy defines your target market? When they do, then we move to the next step, which is the creative bit. Now we're having fun finding out ways of how to communicate to this target market. So then when client desk looks at the creative, they're like, cool. They can't say, but where did this creative come from? It comes from an idea. It comes from an insight. It comes from targeting at a target market. So that's how you kind of have to justify using data and facts, and also some sort of human intuition at the same time. And also, creativity is quite broad. You know, like if it makes you feel a certain way, I think you've done the job.
Okay, so now the campaign is done and essentially everybody is happy. How do you measure the success of this campaign?
Depends on who you're speaking to. Because if you're speaking to clients, it's obviously how much product they've moved. If you're speaking to a creative, it's how smart it is. And we kind of measure up to award shows. The local one is Lurie's. And, you know, if you enter something and if the Lurie board feels like it's worth something, you'll get a recognition. So hence why I said at the beginning, it depends who you're talking to.
100%. So would you say that nowadays in the creative space and advertising, your campaigns are more influencer focused?
Ooh, my word, that's a tough question. I think the rise of influencer marketing is purely because I feel is the target market is starved of authenticity, and a lot of the times ads are just like, buy this thing, it's good for you, cool. But then I think the new market is asking, you know, like, why? Why is this good for me?
More relatability.
More relatability. So if a influencer has this in an ideal world, if an influencer agrees that this product is good for you or is works and it is a good product, you kind of already in your mind you're like, cool, that should be a good product because I adore this influencer and I trust what he or she says. And I think that's the reason why the whole influencer marketing is becoming into the fore, especially with the new media like TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, X, and those type of spaces.
So you started out in, you did art direction, right?
I started as graphic design.
As graphic design and then art direction.
Correct.
Okay. So what does a day look like as an art director? What exactly do you do?
So it starts with a lot of meetings.
Okay.
But with that, like the general structure is normally the brief will come on your desk and you'll have a meeting with a lot of people. So at no point, especially it's kind of weird moving from being a student and into the working world because now you're working with a lot of people. And you're talking to the client service. You know, they are the ones briefing you. Your creative directors and your teammates that's making the stuff happen. So you work as a team, you look at the brief, right? So you see what is required. If it's a brand new campaign, then you're like, okay, cool, you need to see what the problem is, then define what the insight is. So now we're brainstorming. So brainstorming is like this. We sit around the table and we like, cool, what are the cool things that Gen Zs are into, or what the target market, what they're interested in. And we start to pull all these different things and ideas and thoughts and stuff like that. And as an art director, we sit with a copywriter. Now, copywriter, they are people of words.
Yes.
So they're very good at stringing thoughts together. As art directors, we're good at thinking of different ideas from different places. And that's how it becomes a teamwork thing. Once the idea is set, then you need to present it back to your creative director. Creative director says, cool. They see like 3 or 5 ideas, they pick one, and then it moves to the next stage. Okay, now it's time to present to client. Depending on how the agency flows, either the creative director presents, or if you're confident enough, you're now presenting to client.
Okay.
So there's a lot of selling. You need to learn how to sell your idea, because if you can't sell your idea, who's going to buy into it?
100%. So for students who are interested in art direction and creative directing, what would you say, in addition to the skill that you've just mentioned now, selling, what other skills do you think they need to have and also start working on to tap into this career?
I think as creatives, we always curious. And I think, and I will always look back at when I was a student, I wish I was continued that curiosity, which I kind of have, but I wish I did more.
Okay.
And being curious about lots of different things. Be interested in, if you don't take the taxi, be interested in what the people there engage with, put yourself in different environments. And why I'm saying that is because when you understand different things and different interests, you're now drawing thoughts from different places and different interests. So that's the whole point as a creative. We're taking 2 ideas or more and making it one brand new one. I think then it makes a new idea. So be interested in a lot of things. Something that you're not familiar with. So I'll just whip out one. Like I know that generally as South Africans, we're not that into tennis. Just be interested in who's playing, and just because then it now sparks in a new thought in your head. You're like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. And it doesn't have to be sports. It could be anything. It could be film. It could be music. If you're not into amapiano, try gqom or something like that. It might not be your taste, but just see what people are interested in. And I think with that, you can draw a lot of ideas and thoughts.
Absolutely, that's brilliant. And you can understand your market as well as a creative, you know what I mean? So in the creative space, networking and collaboration are probably, 2 of the most important. How have these 2 helped you in your career, and how can you kind of advise students how to go about this networking and collaboration?
It can go really bad really quickly, but I think it's obviously a matter of how do you tame yourself. So a lot of the time it's like going to bars and parties, but I don't do that. I personally I'm a little bit of an introvert.
Okay.
So the way I did it, and it's not the same manual for everyone else, is just be a very good person. Be a nice person, be approachable, so that when you go into your first job or something, people want to work with you.
Sure.
People remember you. They're like, and that's the thing.
That's
the advertising, exactly. In the advertising industry, it may be a lot of people involved, but the people you work with, they carry that first impression
100%.
of you elsewhere. So then further down the line, it will work into your favor, because then they remember, okay, cool, Chan was a nice person. He did deliver, Don't burn bridges. And I try to say this to all the new Gen Zs. Try your best to be good. Be a good person. Be approachable. I have this ongoing conversation with my ex-writer. You need to have that work ethic. And work ethic doesn't mean put your head down in the books, but it's also be like, if your name is on the job, do it. Don't
do the job.
Do the job. But
100%.
I do, there's a sliding scale. You can't work yourself to death.
100%.
You can't do that, because why are we here? But there's also a level of doing what's right, doing what the job requires.
Exactly.
And if you do that, people remember your reputation, and reputation is the thing you hang your hat on to the rest of your career.
No, I love that. I'm huge on work ethic. And like you say, we're not saying, don't go to sleep, don't get rest. But if you know that these are your duties, do it.
Yeah.
Without me having, just get it done. It's simple as that. And being nice, especially in this industry, hey, because also, the creative space is so much about referral. Oh, I know so-and-so, so brilliant, such a nice person, great to work with, great work ethic, they'll do well. And they'll literally overlook a CV because of just that referral. Do you get what I'm saying? Because Chan is great. Chan led this incredible campaign and said, Dubbz, yes, this and this. And they'll say, come on board, we want you. So I think that's probably like the best advice for the year. Can we just say?
Thank you so much.
For the entire year. So also what I wanted to ask you though, for students who once you've just graduated, which is like a tough time because now you want to get into work, you want these opportunities. Where are sort of like the places where they can look to get these opportunities? Of course, with just your qualification, not much experience, a little bit of practicals here and there that they would have probably acquired on campus, but not so much.
I think there's a step before that, and that is having a very good portfolio.
Right.
Portfolio becomes it sits above your CV, I personally think.
Okay.
Because with a good portfolio, I can see what type of work you can produce. And with that, then you can have the leverage to say, cool, please hire me. I'm up for hire and I can do the good work and I will put the utmost effort I can. And the tricky part is, to build your reputation. And how do you do that? You have to have done the work.
Yeah.
You have to have known people. From a fresh start, you probably just send as much CVs as possible. Obviously with a good portfolio, and knowing the right people also helps.
True.
And by doing so, you could go to. So this is I'm doing a personal venture to go into open days for school open days.
Nice.
I just wanted to see what's the work is. I know that certain schools have portfolio night, and those where industry people now go there. Industry people go and find what's out there
that's incredible.
Because a lot of the times what will happen is HR will be like, cool, I've got this much portfolios that I've got you to look at. We don't sift through portfolios. First first line of defense is HR. They go, okay, cool, they've seen this type of thing, they kind of page through your portfolio, cool, now it puts it in front of us. That's quite a lengthy process, but to jump the gun is to go to these things and just have a look. Where does the industry people go? I think that doing a bit of research at least helps. You can't just go in blindly and say, okay, well, please hire me. They're like, well, do you even know what advertising is about?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I love the example you gave earlier on when you said have a curious mind, even if it's something that you're not going goo gaga over, but just to just get a bit of knowledge, a bit of information, insight on that, even if you don't travel by taxi, be curious what happens there,
Exactly.
right, in that kind of environment. So, I mean, for students who want to tap into this career, how would you say they can keep up to date with trends that are happening in the creative space, and just also, to have that skill of knowing all the time that these are the trends, this is what's now evolving, this is what's now happening in the creative space?
I think let's go back to what you mentioned earlier as your personality. Your personality is and where do you find yourself in? What's your interests? Start there. Because then that's an easier way to fall into. So say, for instance, if cars is your thing, go to these car events like what's the recent one? The M show, whatever, at Kailami.
Oh yes.
Go to that, but don't go to those events and just be a spectator. View what's going on. Acknowledge how everyone's putting these events together. Everything that happens requires a team of people. You go to a balcony mix. It is those two DJs, but some people have to come put this whole event together.
It's a big event.
Now acknowledge all the things that you're sitting on, you're looking at, and just be curious and like, okay, cool. It requires like a thought like this to be like, oh, that is really cool. Be interested in that. That in that way you can start to look at things in a different perspective.
So how do you know how campaigns, and I think not just campaigns, just in general at work, sometimes you find yourself under so much pressure, deadlines, you're stressed. How do you, have the knack to still be creative, and you're stressing and you need to be creative, but you're really under a lot of pressure?
Funny enough, deadlines are the thing that drives you. It is the thing that motivates. Like if you give all the time in the world to creators, they will use all that time. But deadlines are there for a reason. That's the first point.
Right.
The second point, I'd like to tap into what I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. Because you're drawing these thoughts and ideas from different places, do that constantly. Always inspire yourself on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Every day you're doing something a little bit different. With that, you're building a bank of knowledge that you can prepare for those moments.
Yeah.
So for me, I like to just look at what's happening in the ad world, what ads are going, what are different sports, how they. There's a Super Bowl, the American Super Bowl. Just watch their ads. Like those ads are really cool. What are the lures? What are the ads are winning there? Look at those ads and do it on a constant basis. There's a few. TikTok is also a great platform. Mm-hmm. And TikTok's got like a whole bunch of trash, but there's also a lot of good things. And if you follow the right accounts, you might be inspired in bite sizes.
Lovely. So I'm going to ask you these questions now, which is literally one phrase, one word. What do you love about your job?
It's not boring.
What is the worst part of your job, if there is?
Deadlines. Impossible deadlines.
Okay. Favorite South African saying, word or phrase?
Angazi.
Say that again, please, to the camera there.
Angazi.
Words you live by?
Chance favors the prepared mind.
Love it. We spoke a lot about personality, being nice, and all of those things. How would people describe you if you were not in the room?
I wish they say Chan's cool. He's a cool guy.
I think they would. You do give kind of like a cool vibe.
Thank you.
I'm going to go with cool.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been so informative. So there you have it. You want to tap into this kind of career. One of the first things is that you got to have work ethic, but you also got to be a nice person, because this industry is so much about referral. So that when you're not in the room, people are talking about your work ethic. They're saying, great person, love working with so-and-so, bring them on again. And that is the kind of persona you need to have. If you don't have it, you're going to have to start working on it right now. Until next time.